Well, the rising cost of gas has more people considering alternative ways of commuting, even to work. At Recyclist Bicycle Company in Kaukauna, the co-owner telling us more customers are asking about the possibility of using a bike or even an e-bike instead of a car. And that trend has been much more noticeable over the past few weeks.
Not in droves, but definitely people are starting to think that that's an opportunity, particularly with the popularity of e-bikes. It does make getting to work clean and quickly a little bit more easy. So yeah, we've definitely seen people contemplating the idea of using their bicycle for their vehicle.
You may contemplate it more after seeing this. Statewide, drivers now paying an average about $4.41 a gallon. Nationally, gas prices at $4.51 a gallon.